you. Thank you. I'm not really taking much of the limiting factor today. I would only introduce us to it. The calculations and every other aspect would be taken next week. So I just want to introduce us to PM as a whole, the strategic, the tactical, and the operational part of the management. That is what I want to introduce us to. And I like this welcoming. Thank you for welcoming me. I hope our ride will be so smooth and we won't need to have this kind of rancor in class any longer. Thank you once again. Please confirm if you can see my slide.
Excuse me, sorry, we can see your screen, but the font is very small.
Okay. You can increase it from your end now. You can increase it from your end.
From your hand. Try and increase it from your end, sir.
No, can you can increase the you can zoom in from your own end also, so that exactly.
Not clear.
You can
still zoom more, a bit more.
The more you zoom, the more it moves to the left, as if it's trying to cut it to half.
I think it's okay like this now.
Please, let's manage now. Let the class start. Let's manage.
Yes.
Let's
management. That is what we are actually measuring. The goals that we've set, how we intend to achieve it, how have we been able to achieve such goals. Involved in setting of goals, long-term goals. I can see someone raising his or hands up. Oluwa Fikemi. Plans and reach out plans for decision makings. You know, for the organization, they look at new entrants into the market. They look at new products into the market, whereby considering their market share and the kinds of products that they feel like, oh, if we add this to what we are producing now, we'll be able to have a larger share. So strategic managers are in charge of that. They sit down, strategically plan for the long term. For their plans are usually 5 to 10 years and above, whereby they sit, look at the projections, look at where they are, look at where they are going to, you know, set the plan in motion. This is the percentage of profits we intend to make in the next 5 years. This is the numbers of branches we intend to open in the next 5 years, you know, strategically planning and working towards achieving such goals. For a strategic manager, it is expected that they make plans to meet such goals. They make plans to meet such goals. And also, they look at the existing strategy that they had already had and look at improving it. Okay, the kind of strategies they've put in place, can this still work? Like we all know that everybody is going IT-wise, AI has come to stay. You know, strategically, everybody is putting into place goals, how to fit in, how to make sure you're still very relevant, the kind of look into what can we do, what products can we diversify into, how do we make ourselves relevant so we would not be out of the market totally. What are our customers looking at? The feedbacks from customers would determine what they want to go. And all this strategy must align with the mission and the vision statement, their goals that they've actually set for themselves as a company, what they are known for, what they really want to achieve. They will make sure such strategy align with their goals. Yes, so those are the things you begin to get from the strategic manager. Often the information about the organization as a whole and the larger part of this organization, such informations are known to the strategic managers because they have more informations. They are at the peak of the organization. They are the ones that are in charge of, setting the goals, making sure the goals starts running, and they are also generally relevant for long-term projections. Right now, they are projecting for the next 5 years, for the next 6 years. How do we go digital? How do we enter into the new market? Which part of the market have we not been to? Do we go to the eastern part of Africa? Do we move to the southern part of Africa? If such a company is only in West Africa, they begin to look at how to move to other parts, how to spread, how to expand, how to make themselves known, and the kind of product as well, looking into probably diversification. If in the next 5 years, okay, we would need to project 25 or more percent for our profit. So looking at what strategy would be put in place for us to make 25% profit, that means we need to do a whole lot of adverts for our existing products. We need to make sure we put in place bonuses, buy one, get one free kind of to attract customers. We need to get feedback from customers. Do you like this product? Would you recommend this product for your families and friends? Setting those goals that would take the organization from where it is now to the next point that they want to be. Yes. And also they are often prepared for the ad hoc basis rather than for the regular and the routine reports. Their reports are usually yearly, annually, long-term reports. They are looking, like I said, for the strategic manager, they are looking into the future. They are forecasting into the future. They are futuristic in nature. Everything and more about them are futuristic, future. All about them is looking into the future. How do we take ourselves from point A to point B? How do we improve on our product? How do we make more profit? How do we expand? They are more into future, expanding the cash flow of the company. Everything about them naturally are futuristic. That are the characteristics of a strategic manager or management. Their informations also contain qualitative nature as well as quantitative nature. The kind of information they have, it is qualitative and also quantitative in nature. That they have the highest degree of uncertainty in information. They are kind of the information that is available to the strategic manager is the highest degree of information because they are at the top. They are top management. They are looking at the future, like I said, futuristic, begin to forecast into the future. All they are doing is just how do we get to point B? From point B, how do we move to point C? Does this align with our goals? And all hands on deck working towards that goals is being attained. We would also be looking at the tactical planning and control. This is more detailed than the first one, and it is short-term plan. And it is short planned. Sorry, guys. E.g., one of this is our yearly budget. The budget budgets being prepared yearly. These are part of the tactical plans in order to ensure resources are obtained and used efficiently in order to achieve the long-term plans of the company. For the tactical managers, they look into projections for a year, annual projections. So the tactical managers, we can say that these people deals with the short-term plans, short-term goals of the organization. They are looking into a one-year plan within January to December. How do we achieve this? So their goals are goals that can be achieved within a short period of time, which could be reducing the costs or making sure that making sure that equipment and the likes are put into proper use. You know, for production, when we have making sure that there is little or no idle time, because the tactical managers are planning for a year. They are more involved. Their own plan is short-term period. So looking at how they could improve the cash flow by reducing some costs. Once some costs are being reduced, you know, looking at making use of the equipment efficiently and resources efficiently. By this, they reduce wastage, looking at reducing wastage, then looking at making sure that the idle hours are being reduced, you know. Once you can reduce idle hour and every time is put into use, by this you'd be able to save some costs, because every idle time comes at a cost to the company. They are also in charge of control. Control will be exercised against the budget using, for example, variances. Yes, you know, reducing wastage of material. Once the wastage, yes, it is. There is always a range for wastage, but once it exceeds that range, then that you would say that the wastage, the variance would be more. So what is the tactical manager looking at? Is looking at if the range for wastage is between 1 to 5. Even as a tactical manager, you will be looking at taking it from 5 to 3 in order to reduce the numbers of wastage. Once there is no wastage, they will be able to put the materials into proper use. Every of the resources will be efficiently made use of in order to achieve the set goal. In order to achieve the set goal, the 1 year goal that, okay, this year we'll be producing 10,000 units, and the tactical manager, how do we get to this? We'll be needing 10 bags of raw material, but we can also make use of 9 and we'll still get good quality. You would be looking at making sure that there's the gap, the variance that would the company would have would be streamlined into as low as possible, because all this would be eaten into the profit. Once you have material wastage, those that have been wasted now had gone into loss for the company. How many staff would the company need for next year? If the company is looking at increasing their production, they'll be looking at how many more staff do they need to add to the numbers they have now. Are we bringing in 2 more? Are we bringing in 3 more? Do we need more people in the factory so we could be able to meet up with the production, you know? So he's projecting his projection is within the short time, 1 year. Okay, since next year we are moving to another branch, we'll need another 5 staff. We'll be taking 3 from our Ojodu branch, we'll take 2 from the Highland branch because they are experienced. So I would add just 5 to them, the new ones, so they can carry the new ones along. He's in charge of those plans, making sure everything that has been set gets rolling. He's also in charge of informations about individual departments and operations. Like I said, he's in charge of the operations, looking at the departments. Okay, they need 2 more, 3 more, looking at what is available. Generally, is relevant for the short term and the medium term goals. Short term and the medium term goals. You'll find out that for the tactical managers, they are in charge of short term within a year, and the mid term 2 to 3 years thereabouts. Is always in charge of such goals in order for those goals to be achieved. He also prepares a routine and regular base, for example, monthly, weekly performance reports. For the tactical manager, is also in charge of routines to check the monthly, the weekly performance, since we want to achieve 12,000 units for the year, and that has been divided into 1,000 units per month. And mid-year, we're expected to be on 6,000 units. So if we are on 4,000 units by June, then the tactical manager knows that he has a lot to do, because by June, which is the mid-year, they should have been on 6,000 units or above. That is, he will be sure that the plan that he had for the year, they would be able to achieve it. But if by June they are still on 4,000 production, so this would give him the opportunity to go back to the drawing table and see what can be done to salvage this within the next 6 months. And that is why he's in charge of monthly, weekly reports to see what is being done by departments and operations. His decision, his informations too may be forward-looking because they are also mid-term. They are also mid-term goals. Someone is raising his or her hand up. Kayode Adeniyi. You can unmute and speak, please, Kayode.
Yeah. Yes. You just spoke about strategic manager, where you said
Yes,
the
sir.
information available to such a manager is both qualitative and quantitative. Please,
Yes, sir.
can you give a bit of explanation on that? Qualitative information and quantitative information as regards the strategic manager, please.
Okay, sir. When I say qualitative, they are non-numeric. Those informations are not informations that you could attach numbers or data to. More of their characteristics, their attitude in nature. While the quantitative, you could easily put figures to it. So that's why for the strategic manager, it has both qualitative and quantitative. You could easily put figures to the quantitative. We are at cash flows is available to him as an information. Moving from when we now talk of opening more branches, going into the new market share, looking at market share, looking at how to penetrate the market. This are part of the qualitative informations, you know, because you can't put a number to this, but there are informations that are available to him. Looking at when we talk about projections for cash flow, projections for profit, all those ones are qualitative in nature. You can, which he also has information concerning that. But for the tactical, he only has information that are quantitative. His own informations are quantitative in nature. He also has access to quantitative informations, the cash flow projections, the profitability of the company moving from point A to point B. How do we improve on our profit? Can we take our profit? Can we increase this profit by 25%? All those informations are also available to the tactical manager. But for the strategic, it has both qualitative and quantitative informations. For the tactical manager, variance reports and budgetary control system, it has information to the variances and then budgetary control, you know, because he's the one in charge of operations. So sales reports, he has information to concerning sales reports on sales by product or by customers. The tactical manager has information concerning sales in charge in sales according to products, you know, for companies that are into multi products, you know, Coca-Cola, for instance, they have different forms of products. They will be looking at for him how many packs of Coke, Fanta, and the likes are being sold. What products do they need to improve on? Which of their products is the one that is moving more in the market, that the sales of such products had increased? You know, he has such informations. Then he begin to look at, okay, which markets have we been able to sell more of this product? Then he needs to look into improving more on such products, and also encouraging customers and getting feedbacks to be able to show on how to serve them better. Then we have reports on capacity usage. Like I said, that he has capacity usage, looking at when we talk about capacity, human capacity, machinery capacity. When we talk about the machinery capacity, what machines do we have? How many units can they produce? Which ones are the new ones in town that would save costs, reduce time, and also would be able to get more output in little or no time? So he's in charge of making sure that materials are being used and not waste. For capacity, human capacity, looking at a branch, how many staff do they need? Do they need more hands, or they need to maybe transfer some, downside some, you know? It has the bigger picture of the runnings of the company when it comes to the operations. Is involved, fully involved. While for the last level of management, the operational, this are involved with the day-to-day management of the organization. They are involved with the day-to-day. We can call them the supervisors because they are involved in the day-to-day management of the business. In order to ensure that specific tasks are carried out effectively and efficiently, they are more involved in the day-to-day activities, making sure that all staffs are available. Mr. Bola isn't available today. Mrs. Bola is standing in for him, making sure that the runnings of the organization, day-to-day activities is properly done. It wouldn't be that one of the staff is sick and there's no other person to carry out the duties of such staff. The information used will be very detailed and will be quantitative. So the information that are available to him will be very detailed in the sense that he is in charge of the day-to-day operations of the business. So his own informations are well detailed, very detailed. It would often be expressed in terms of examples, units, hours, instead of purely monetary terms. His own information is detailed, is broken down into pieces whereby, because he's in charge of the day-to-day activities, of course, ensuring that the budgeted productions is achieved every day. You know that we have a projection. For the other time, I used an example that we want to produce 12,000 units in a year. So it is expected that every month we produce 1,000 units. And for us to produce that 1,000 units every month, we need to break it down to what it is expected per week. So for a week, we should be able to produce about 250 units. That 250 units in a week will be broken down to 5 days a week. That would be about 50 units per day. So if in a day they are not able to meet up with the 50 units, then we can say that variance had begin to occur already. So he is in charge of the activity. We are to produce 50 today. We are on, say, 30, and it's already, the factory is to close 5 p.m. and it's already 4:30 p.m. and they are still on 30 units. That is to tell you that it won't be possible to meet up with the 50 units. So it would be the one to look into, okay, is it that we are not managing our time very well? What has led to us not being able to produce that amount? Is it due to the lack of the fact that the material that we need to use are not being brought in on time? So he has more details. It would be the one to report to the tactical manager that, sir, these are the challenges we are facing, because he's in charge of the day-to-day activities of the organization. He'll be able to give feedback to the tactical manager that these are the challenges, these are the things they need to improve on. The operational manager is generally relevant to the short term, his own term period tenure is short in nature. When we say short, we are talking about things to be done almost immediately. So that is why is short term in nature. Unlike the strategic that is futuristic, they're in charge of the long term, while the tactical is in charge of both long and medium. But for the operational, is in charge of the short term goals of the organization. It may be forward-looking, but also is in charge of planning of the day-to-day activities of the organization. This might concern with transactions, procedures, and performance measurements of a daily level. Like I said the other time, he measures the performance daily. He's in charge of the daily activities. So he sees what's going on daily. Like I said, his own information is more detailed than that of the tactical manager. And also, it looks into wastage in production because he's in charge. He sees what is going on. He makes sure that there's no wastage when it comes to material usage. He makes sure that there's no wastage. Yes, can we eradicate wastage as a whole? No, but it can be reduced. Yes, it can be reduced because for people that are into manufacturing, there would always be waste, but the way at which it is being reduced is what the operational manager will be looking at. Because for a baker, there's no way you won't spill your flour or you won't have issues of spilt milk and all that. Of course, it happens, but the level at which it happens and what measures are being put in place to reduce wastage as a whole is more on the shoulders of the operational manager. Why? He's in charge. He sees it every day. He's the supervisor. He moves around. He sees what is happening. He sees how it is being handled. He's in charge of the day-to-day activities. So he's more in charge. He's more involved than others. How to schedule the workload for the day and how it would be completed, how the work will be scheduled. He is in charge. He knows how many staffs are available, how many are not. So he knows how he would be in charge of scheduling of the work, the tasks for the day in order to be able to achieve such tasks. He's in charge of how many people are going to be at point A, how many people is going to stand at point B, because he's going to make sure that there's no room for how will I call this now? Everybody's hands is on deck, making sure that such tasks are being completed. If there are delays and hold-ups in work, the schedule of workload, he would be in charge and he would know the reasons for such delays. If the tactical manager is on his neck as to, we are ought to have produced so amounts by the end of this month, why are we on this? He has more information. He has a clearer information. So once there is a delay or there is an hold up in workflow, he has the reasons, he knows the reasons, he's in a better position to manage such things. So he would be able to relate to them to give clearer picture as to why the productions have not been met. For the operational, he also has the information as to which, if a customer's order would be completed on time. You know, customers sends in their orders, different customers, different orders, and there's a timeline. I need a cake and I need it to be delivered by tomorrow morning. The operational manager is in charge. He would know if the kind of flavor I'm asking for, maybe it's a chocolate flavor, he would be in charge to know, oh, we do not have chocolate in stock. We won't be able to complete this customer's order for 10, but I can guarantee the customer, say 12, would be able to deliver. He has more information. So like I said, he is in charge. He's in charge fully. He knows what is going on. He has ideas about everything. If such customer's order would be completed, if it won't be completed, if there is any material that is not available, he's in charge. He knows, and he knows virtually all the day-to-day activities of the organization. Yes. I do not know if you have any question for me based on this aspect. Hello, class. Do you have any question for me?
No.
I'm with you, ma'am. Yes, I can hear you.
No, I don't have any questions. I don't know about others.
I have a question.
Okay. All right, please go ahead.
All right. My question surrounds the responsibilities between a manager at the tactical level and that at the strategic level. From your explanation, you made us understand that at the tactical level, the top guys determines what happens with the long-term goal or strategy of the company, say 5 to 10 years. While at the tactical level, they look at probably a short-term, what happened within the short period in the company, say 1 year. Now, for a company whose financial statement has been made for a period of 1 year, and it's noticed that they reported probably a loss for that 1 year, being that the 1 year plan keyed into the 5-year plan that the strategic managers made. What now happens, or who takes which blame at that first year where the loss of the company was actually incurred, knowing the fact that they are all planning towards achieving what will happen at the 5-year plan? Can they judge what happened between the first year, or if they say, okay, let's not judge, let's see what happens the next year, and they assume to continue what happened, and they still experience the same thing? So at what point can the strategic managers come in to make whatever changes in order to correct what plan they had that 5-year versus what is happening for the 1 year? I don't know if I was able to make a point.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about. Yes, the strategic manager, they are in charge of 5 to 10 years plan. Don't forget that our 5 years plan would also be broken down into years. Yes, it is a 5-year plan, but this is what we are expected to do this year. Then this is what we are expected to do the following year. And it is a plan. It is a plan. And you know that when it comes to plan, you just have to do the things that you have to put in place. All measures should be put in place. When it comes to such plans, and after year 1, there is a loss. Say the plan is to increase profit by 25%. For us to increase our profit by 25%, we can either do 2 things: reduce our costs. If we reduce our costs, we would be able to increase profit, or look at into selling more, increasing the sales. It's either we increase our sales or we reduce our costs. When we make use of those 2 techniques, then we'll be able to achieve more profit-wise. So if those are being put in place and yet they are unable to achieve the set goals, you can't hold the tactical manager, you can't hold him responsible yet, because the goal and the strategy is for 5 years. So at year 1, it's expected that it is still a teething period for such strategy. It is still a teething period, so room will be given. Then they'll look into it the more. What didn't we do properly in this year 1 to take it to the next year? By the time they're on year 2, and the same thing is happening, then we would look into the plan to see if the plan can actually work. Is the, there are plans, how do we call them? There are goals that are objective, and some goals you will see that those goals are not objective. We'll now begin to draw the table, like, are those goals objective? Are they achievable? Can it be attained? So before the tactical manager can be held responsible, we would look into the plan. At year one, you have a 5-year goal. At year one, it is expected that you might not be very close to your goals, but by year two, you should have seen a clearer picture if it is going to be achievable or not. By year two, you're moving closer. So if by year two, they are still far from their goals, then they'll go back to the drawing board to go and check the plans, check the procedures, check the things that are put into place, and look at where the plans have gone wrong before we would now look at who is to be blamed. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It's okay.
You're welcome, sir. Someone else was raising his or her hand. And
Good afternoon.
okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, sorry, my name is Frank. I want to know, you
Okay,
mentioned
good.
like the three levels you've mentioned. If I can vividly recall, you said the operational example could be a supervisor, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what of the tactical and the strategic, what are the people who can classify as being those that are in charge of those particular planning?
For the tactical, you can be looking at the branch manager, someone that is in charge of a branch. You can be looking at the branch managers and them. When you're now looking at the strategic, you'll be looking at the people at the top. Those are people that they are in charge of the long-term goals. They are strategic in nature. You'll be looking at for the people in finance, we can be looking at our CFO as the strategic manager here. While for the tactical, generally, they are middle-level managers. You find your branch manager, you find the likes of the person in charge of production, because supervisor here now is in charge of the day-to-day activities. And don't forget that when we say supervisor, they've also grouped for production, the staff had also been grouped into groups where they also have what they do and they have a head of group. While the operational, you find people at the lower level managers, the supervisor and the likes. So I don't know if I've been able to do justice to that, Francis, if I'm correct.
Thank you.
You're still there. You're welcome, sir. So I don't know if any other person has a question for me. At this point, I just wanted to introduce us. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I wanted to ask that I raised my hand earlier, but I had to drop it again. I was contemplating if I should ask the question. So I want to relate this with to a sole proprietorship. To a sole or to a one person owned business. Same person is the CEO, same person is the manager, same person is the operational controller, same person is the sometimes even the delivery guy. I'm sure you're getting me. So now, can you say that their strategic planning can be for 10 years, but maybe in 2 years or 3 years, they get to learn new things and they get to change their strategy again? Are you saying that they are not strategic enough, or are you saying, can we say that they are not strategic enough, or they are not like futuristic? Because along the line, maybe in 2 years, they get to change their plans again, and also maybe get to change their way of operational control and all of that. I just really want to get that and how that it gets to relate with sole proprietorship. Thank you, ma'am.
I understand the question. So when it comes to sole proprietorship, like you said, before they could really plan strategically, it is until when that person can differentiate his own personal purse, from that of the business. Because we all know that the same purse that this company has is the same purse the sole proprietorship has. So it's when you separate yourself from an entity and you see the entity as a different person on its own, you run your business as this is business, this is a different entity, I am a different entity. And the sole proprietor is also paying his or herself salary. So by that time, you would see that it would have a very good plans, very strong strategical plans, because they do not separate the purse. They are not even sure if they are making profit or not, because any other, for someone that is into different businesses, makes money from catering, also has a canteen, does outdoor catering. He goes for outdoor catering, he makes money, put it back. Would not be able to differentiate if it is the canteen that is actually making profits or the outdoor catering. Why? Because everything had been modeled up. Everything is going into a purse. So for the strategic management of such a company or for sole proprietorship, first thing first, they need to separate the accounts. The business is an entity on its own, and they are also on their own. The manager is also being paid salary, and also the manager is also looking at plans that are achievable. Someone that has just a shop and is still managing that one shop and is looking at, in the next 3 years, I want to have 10. How achievable is that? With your one, are you breaking even? Are you making profit? Can you stand tall with that one that you have before you'll be thinking of opening 2, 3, 4 to 5 branches? So first thing is, how realistic are the plan? How realistic are the plan? Because we all set goals. We set goals that are not, sometimes I'll say it's not like it's not achievable, but maybe the kind of goals we set, just like I said, for one person that owns just a small shop, looking at, in the next 10 years, I want to have 10. That means you're looking at having 1 per year. And the one you have presently, it's not like it's making such profit, because it is from the profits that you make from this one that you'll be looking at investing into others, And the fact that they are in charge of everything. They are the accountant, they are the manager, they are the delivery, they are everything, like all in all. It makes it so difficult to attain their goals. It's only if the owner of the business is actually disciplined for such a business to thrive. But yes, are there businesses that are so owned and they are thriving? Yes, of course, yes. But you'll find out that probably at the early stage, the owner of the business has been able to separate the purse. The business is an entity. I'm also an entity. I'll be paying myself salary. So you'll be able to see what is in the purse. If I'm to earn 50,000 at the end of the month, and I'm looking at my sales and I can see that I've only made a sales of about 30,000, then I'll be looking at other strategies to put in place. But when such measures are not in place, I'm just dipping my hand into the purse. I'm just speaking as I want. I won't, if you can't even tell either they are making profit or not. So it's not like the sole proprietorship can't have strategic plan. Of course, they do and they have. And also it is achievable and attainable, yes. If the person is disciplined and also they have their sales record in check. Every sales that are being made is being properly checked at the end of the day. And there's good bookkeeping, record keeping. And there is always probably monthly routine check for those that are into supermarkets and the likes. The owner should make sure there's a routine check to be sure that, okay, I bought 10 and 5 is on the stand. We've sold 3. I'm sure we should still have 7 left. And I can find the 2 remaining on the stand. But in the store, it's only 2 that is left. And I should still have 5 in the store. So that way you'll be able to check with the salesperson what is happening, you know. Just putting in proper control, proper measures, and the likes, yes, they should be able to attain their goals as well. Of course, we all, even personally as individuals, we all have goals. So they should just put such controls, measures in place, and I'm sure they can also do exploits. Have I been able to clarify that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know if any other person has a question for me. I would like to introduce us to limiting factor. Any other question on this aspect, please? Okay, thank you. When it comes to performance management, there are some aspects that it involves decision making. And in that likes, we'll be looking at relevant costing, we'll be looking at limiting factor, we'll be looking at make or buy. All those are based on decision making. You'll be looking at discontinuing of a product, shutting down of a product or a company. Others are basically decision making in nature. So looking at limiting factor, I know the second lecturer is going to come back to his class and take the other aspects, but I'm just going to introduce us into limiting factor, and we'll see how decisions are being made properly and the likes here. When we look at relevant cost and revenue, they are future cash flows that would be raised as direct consequences of a decision being taken. What is this statement saying? That the costs and revenue, it would be raised by what? The direct consequences of decision being taken. You know that as a company that is into production, we'll be looking at what product maximizes profit. What products do our customers enjoy most? Don't forget that some products are complementary in nature. The use of A would always lead to the use of B. Some are composites in nature. I usually use illustration of umbrella and ice cream. When there is when it is raining season, the person selling ice cream would not be able to make sales. But if such a person, the same man selling ice cream, hangs umbrella by his side, the ice cream will not make sales that day, but the umbrella will, because it is raining season. Everybody would always want to buy. But when the time change and it is dry season, virtually everybody that passes by would want to get something cold. Can I have ice cream? Can I have ice cream over there just to cool off? So that's, would I say, is complementary or composite? Complementary. They complement each other. Composite, they are opposite. Just like that, like for complementary, you look of paint and brush. When you buy paint to paint, you would need a brush to finish up with your painting. And you find out that the paint will lead to probably the amount of brush that will be needed and the likes. So this saying that the direct consequences of the decision taking, that the future cash flow would lead to the direct consequences of the decision taking. There are some following principles of relevant cost and revenue that should be applied to all decision making by management. Information about cost and revenue should be about future cost and future revenue. We are looking at informations about costs. In this, like that, for decision making, it should be about the future when it comes to the cost, and also the revenue should be looking at the future. Decisions should be considered with cash and cash flows. Only those cost revenue, okay, for decision making. Non-cash items, okay, would be looking at those that are non-cash items, such as depreciation, absorption of fixed overhead, non-relevant for decision making, okay? All right. All these are just recaps on decision making. You know, it assumes, for the purpose of providing cost information and decision making. When we look at decisions to be taken, we'll be looking at products. When we talk about decision as a whole, looking at limiting factor, something is limited. It could be labor hours, it could be machine hours, it could be material, but something, one of the items for production is limited. So we are now looking at which of these products that we want to produce maximizes profit. Which of our products maximizes profit? So once we are able to determine the one that maximizes profit, we would now give preference to that product first, based on the fact that we are limited. We are limited. So we would want to give preference to such products to make sure that we have more than enough units of such products to sell in order to maximize our profit. Don't forget that every organization, their goals is, first thing on the list is to maximize profit. So we are all into production, into sales, into service rendering, whichever thing they are into. The main objective is to do what? maximize profit. Profit can be maximized, yes, considering the other factors. I think there was an argument that what should be the aim of an organization? Is it to maximize shareholders' wealth or maximize stakeholders' wealth? And most students would want to pick that they should maximize shareholders' wealth. No, you can maximize shareholders' wealth by maximizing stakeholders' wealth. When we look at stakeholders, we have the likes of the government that are expecting us to pay tax. We have the likes of the employees that are looking at better remuneration and also comfortable place of work. We have the likes of suppliers that are looking at prompt payments of the goods supplied to us. We have the likes of the stakeholders theory. So when we are able to maximize all this stakeholders' wealth, indirectly would be maximizing the shareholders' wealth. So that's just a cheap one. So looking at the history, we'll be looking at historical costs. They are not relevant. I think, I don't know if my other colleague has taken relevant costing, because this would help us in decision making. I think the knowledge of relevant costing.
No.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Huh. Okay, I'll discuss with him. We'll look at how to handle it, because the knowledge of one would help the other. So there's no problem. It's all good. We are still in together. So, like I said, basically everything about limiting factor, we'll be looking at what is limiting. And most times it is either the material or the machine has or the labor hours available for production. When you have 3 to 4 products to produce and the material available cannot produce the quantity needed, then we'll be looking at that material. We've already indicated that material is what is limiting. Then what next to do? We need to check which of these products has the highest contribution. From the calculation of the contribution, this will give us an insight into which product maximizes profit. So we would now do sort of allocation, making sure that the product that maximizes profit, we would have to produce the entire amount of such products, then divide the remaining material or resources that is remaining between the remaining products. But sometimes you would have in questions where the management had already stipulated that either a product maximizes profit or not, there's a certain amount that should be produced. Either it maximizes profit, either it doesn't maximize profit. There's a certain amount that should be produced. So what do? We first allocate such amount first before allocating whichever raw material that is remaining. The remaining materials now would now start allocating to the product that maximizes profit first before allocating to others. But the decision of the management would be followed to the letter first if we are to produce so amount of all of the products, because there are sometimes that there are some products that are being used to sell another product. I remember sometimes when I was growing up that they used to sell Fanta lemon in a crate. Then we would put all our crates in front of the house. The Coca-Cola truck would come. They would come pick the crates, give us another crate. There's this book that they would tick and sign that they delivered to. So you hear things like, we can only give you 2 crates of Fanta if you're not buying so. So you find out that they have their ways of doing that. Probably
Oh, hello. I can't hear.
I can't hear her too.
Maybe we should send her a chat.
Yeah, send chat.
I'm sorry, that's my network. So sorry. The network threw me out. Please, can you hear me? Can someone confirm if...
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can hear you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So we're talking about the things that could be limited. It could be shortage of resources, such as the direct material, the direct labor, the machine capacity, and all this would lead to shortage in materials. And in this circumstance now, the factor setting a limit to the volume of sales and profits in a particular period. Because all of this are not available, we would not be able to produce the numbers we intend to produce based on the fact that there is shortage. So this is going to hit into the profit for that particular period of that scarce resources. We shouldn't forget that this scarce resources is usually for a very short period of time. It is not for a long period of time. And most time, it would be one resource that is limited. Sometimes it might be 2, but I think when it's 2, we'll be looking at linear and programming. But most time it is either it is the direct labor or the direct material, or it could be machine capacity, or it could be the resource needed for production. So once it is limited, it would hit into the period of that particular period where the resource is not available. Excuse me, please. Why? Because our sales will be restricted by the amount that the company can produce. If we have in mind of selling 50,000 units, but due to those scarce resources, all we can produce and sell is 40,000 units. Now we are losing money because we have the capacity to produce 50 and sell and make more profit. But due to this scarce resources, which could be any of the things we've mentioned before, now we'll be losing money because the 10,000 units that we could not produce nor sell will be losing profit. We'll be losing profit. In summary, this item can be restricted. Okay, restrict or constraint of production of sales. Okay, so we are just saying that such items now, which is restricting us now, would not allow us to be able to make sales, like maximize our sales. So, and like I said, it is usually for a short period of time. It is for a short period of time. We have questions here that I would have worked on, but like I said, I just want to introduce us to what is limiting factor. We have maximizing profit when there is a single limiting factor. When we talk about single limiting factor, we are talking about that it is just one material or there is just one thing that is limiting us, which could be material, it could be resources, it could be labor hours, it could be machine hour. Any of this is what is limiting us. So that is why we have single limiting factor. When there is just one limiting factor, other than sales demand, total fixed profit will be maximized in a period by maximizing the total contribution earned with the available scarce resource. That would lead us into what I said earlier. We would have to produce more of the products that are much profitable. The ones that we are making more from, would have to produce them before looking at others. The 6 steps and approach. You need to calculate the contribution per unit of each type of product. How do we calculate our contribution, our direct material? We had our direct labor to it, our direct expense, and we take this from our sales. Whichever thing we arrive at is our contribution per unit this time. Product A, product B, product C, we would have to arrive at this in unit form. What is the contribution per unit of 1? Identify the scarce resources. Sometimes the major pitfall for students is identifying which of the resources is limited. Some, it is stated directly in the question. Sometimes the examiner is silent and it would give you the clue to know which is which, or better still, since we know the numbers of units that we intend to produce per product, we could easily calculate to check maybe the resources we have is in line with what we need. That way, we'll be sure that We'll be sure to identify which of the material is in scarce. Then calculate the amount of scarce resources used by each product. Yes, like I said, we would have to calculate each. Product A needs 5 quantity to produce 1. And then it's going to produce 10,000 quantity. 5 times 1 times 10,000. We would have to calculate for each product to know if the available resources will be able to produce whole. So once we identify the calculating of the scarce resources per each product, then we divide the contribution N by the scarce resources. Now we are looking at what is limiting. Whichever thing that is limiting us, we have our contribution already. We would have to divide it by whichever thing that is limiting us. Now we are saying that the contribution from each product will now determine how many units of such scarce resources will each product be needing. Once we know the amount of that scarce resources that each product is needing, we would divide it by the contribution. Once we divide that by the contribution, then we would be able to rank with whichever outcome that gives. The one with the highest, when we divide the scarce resource by the contribution, whichever gives the highest outcome becomes our number 1 product. So we would rank accordingly. We would rank it accordingly that way. After we had ranked the contribution accordingly, then we'll construct a production plan based on ranking. Whichever product we rank first, we would make sure we produce the quantity needed for such products. Then same thing goes to B. We would produce the quantity B needs. Then if there are still more resources left over, then we would use that to produce whichever amount of the quantity it could produce for, say, product C. All this will be done based on ranking. The planned outcome. The planned outcome now and sales are decided by the working down through the priorities listed. Okay, we've prioritized based on ranking. So we'll be able to produce whichever one is ranked first is produced first. And we make sure we produce all of its quantity. Then we go on to the rest. So this is another practice question. Yeah. This is another one. Like I said, I just want to introduce us to limiting factor. So that is all about limiting factor. The key aspect is to know the first thing. What is limiting us? Is it material? What is the scarce resources? Is it material? Is it the labor? Once we are able to identify that, we would be able to calculate our contribution. Once we calculate the contribution and we have identified the scarce resources, we would identify the units needed of the scarce resources for production of each product. We would now divide our contribution divided by the scarce resources, A divided by B. Our contribution will be divided by the scarce resources. By this, whichever outcome we get, we would have to rank it. We would rank that division. That is the ranking. That is the product that has been able to maximize profit for us. After ranking, then we'd go into production. Begin to produce. We produce the one we rank first. We produce the entire of it. We produce that of the next product and the one of products, maybe C or D, whichever one, in order to That is to share the scarce resources according to how they maximize profit. But in the instance that the question says that for product A, B, C, we need to produce 5,000 units of each product. Yes, we've been able to rank. We know which product comes first, but before allocating to any of these products, we would have to produce, we will have to allocate, produce 5,000 each of those products. The management is saying, yes, B might not maximize profit like A does, and C might not even maximize half of what A is maximizing, but 5,000 each of those products must be produced. So the first thing is we would first allocate the 5,000 units each, then the remaining resources is what we would now use to start allocating to the remaining. Don't forget that if A needs to produce, say, 10,000, B needs to produce 8,000, and C needs to produce 10,000, and each of these products already had 5,000 each. So we'll just be left with whichever unit is unproduced. So for A that maximizes profit first, we would have to produce the entire 5,000 and check if there's still more scarce resources. There's still more available. We would have to allocate to B. Luckily, B could still get his own 3,000. Good, we'll allocate that to B. Then the remaining resources that is left, probably C can only get 500 of the remaining resources. So you find out that we've been able to produce 10,000 for A, 8,000 for B, and 5,500 for C. That is what allocation is all about. So after allocating, we'll now calculate the profit that can be maximized based on allocation. Like I said, I just want to introduce us to limiting factor. I won't be doing any form of calculation today. Maybe next week we'll be looking at that. But before that, I would, myself and Yomi would look at which one would come first, maybe the relevant costing, I don't know. I can still take limiting factor, then take the relevant costing next. So I don't know if you have any question for me. Hello, are you guys still there?
Hello, ma'am.
I'm with you.
Right. Yeah, because there's a question on the chat box, ma'am.
Will I be able to see this?
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
I'm with you.
Okay, I have a question. You're talking of limiting factors of a single product, or let's say labor. If in a situation where we have a limiting factor in two products, maybe material and labor, do we still follow this process?
If we have what, please, sir? Can you come again?
It will have two limiting factor like labor and material.
That would be linear programming.
Okay.
You can only use this for single limiting factor. Just one product is limiting, but once you have more than one, then you have to do linear programming.
All right.
Sorry, I can't see any question for me in the chat box. I don't know if that person can unmute his or herself. I don't know if that person can unmute his or herself, or if any other person has a question for me, please.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm with you, ma'am.
Sorry for taking you back. Please, I was locked out at some points, ma'am. Please, can you recap on that limiting factor and the process for the calculation, ma'am, please?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. The processes, first thing first is we need to determine the numbers or quantities needed for each production. By the time we calculate that, we'll be sure of which of the material is limiting or the resources that is limiting. Then you calculate your contribution per unit. Once you calculate your contribution per unit, you divide your contribution per unit and the scarce resources. The scarce resources, you divide it by the contribution per unit that we have arrived at. When you divide this, you would now rank that answer. You would rank it according to the one that is the highest. The one that is the highest has 1, the first one, followed by the next one that will be ranked second, the third one that will be ranked third, depending on the numbers of products that the company is into. So you rank them accordingly. Once you rank the product, you would have to produce the product, that is allocation of the scarce material. You will begin to allocate it. Allocating it in the sense that the one that comes first will allocate to it everything it needs to produce, the quantity needed. Whichever product that comes second gets its own allocation as well. The third one too would get the allocation. All this allocation is done according to the numbers of scarce resources left. You know, if A ranked first and we allocate to A all its scarce resources, all the resources needed, I'm sure the numbers of resources remaining would have reduced. By the time B gets its own allocation too, the leftover is what C is going to have. So by that time, we might not literally be able to produce the whole of C based on allocation. Why? Because we are looking at the product that maximizes profit. Why? Because we are profit oriented. We are in business for profit. So we are looking at which product maximizes profit. The one that maximizes profit first is the one that gets its own allocation first. The second, followed by the second and the third, fourth, depending on the numbers of products and the numbers of scarce resources available. After we've been able to allocate all of these resources to each product, then we calculate for our profit. We calculate the profit. So the first thing first is to check which of these resources is limiting. Is it labor hours? Is it machine hours? Is it material? Any of this can be forms of what is limiting. So we need to identify what is limiting first. Once we calculate and we could confirm that the resources available is enough or more than enough to produce the numbers of production we want to make, then such resources is not the scarce resources. But once we make our calculation, we need a total of 200,000 hours to produce all our production. And then from the question, we could see that the numbers of hours available is 150,000 hours. We can see that there's a shortfall of about 50,000 hours already, of about 50,000 hours. That is, the scarce resources here is labor hour. So since the labor hour is limiting already, is scarce already, we won't be able to produce the numbers of production we intend to produce. So we would have to rank based on contribution, which product maximizes profit first. Such product gets its own allocation in full. Then we move to the second product, to the third product. We keep allocating till when there is nothing to allocate again. I hope I've been able to clarify that, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I don't know if any other person has a question for me. Oh, please go ahead, Aminat.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sorry, I think this would have been more understood if you can explain through calculations.
Of course, we are going to do the calculations. This one, I'm just introducing us to limiting factor. We will definitely do the calculations. We'll be able to put figures to it, put a face to it, so we'll see how it is being done. We would understand it properly. Of course, we would calculate.
Thank you.
Esther, your hands are still up. Esther Yemi Oluwashola. Oh, she has just like my name. Are you there? Esther, I can see your hands up. Hello. Is she still on the call? I could see your hands up. Okay. Does any other person has any question for me? Esther,
Hello.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hello?
Esther, please go ahead. I can hear you. I can't hear you. Unmute your mic. Can you hear me? Hello. Unmute your mic and speak. Is your me on the call?
Hi, can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can anybody hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Okay. So good day, everyone. Please permit me to actually continue from here. Are you good to go? Yeah, Shil, thank you so much for that presentation. I think I will be able to continue from here. Right? Stick with that tab up. I'm actually trying to share my screen. Apologies, please, everybody. Yeah, we are actually discussing about the limiting factor. And remember what she said. She said that for every limiting factor, it's actually that thing that would not really allow you to achieve your aim. What is that thing actually that is actually serving as hindrance in what you really want to achieve? And simply, that is really what we call limiting factor. The limiting factor is just, it can actually be any of the elements of your words, of your cost. It can be material, it can actually be labor, it can also be the what, our other resources. Ultimately, when it really comes to the performance management, because we actually liken it to performance, we actually likely to a production department, to a manufacturing industry. However, we actually see discuss resources, other limiting factor to always and most likely be the what, either the machine capacity, either the machine, the what, or the labor hour. Either of these can actually serve as a what, a limiting factor. While I am trying to share the screen, that the screen is not really going, let's quickly look at some rules that actually guides the limiting factor. And I want you to see this as an extension to Oluwasheun's life. Yeah?
Someone
Can anybody
is
hear me?
disturbing us on the background. Please mute your mic.
Oh my goodness. Okay, everybody. I think I've tried enough to allow us the space. So I have the pleasure to let you know that, yeah, I'm available on the chat box. Just give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes, everybody. Now I'm available through the chat box. I think that's what we want now, right? Okay. Sorry, Fatima, you're raising your hand. Fatima, do you have anything for me? Quickly unmute yourself. Fatima.
Excuse, sir.
Yes, Mama.
I wanted to ask the other lecturer a question, but I can still ask you.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So what happens?
Oh, yeah, ask me.
What happens if sales demand is the limiting factor?
Sales demand can actually be the limiting factor in the sense that where we have every other thing, our market capacity can actually produce, our other items can also produce, then there's no available market or a readily market where we can actually sell that product. Then sales in that regard will actually.
Can anyone hear me?
No, I think
I can't hear him.
There's a lot of interference from the background there.
Sorry, can anybody hear me? I don't know why I'm.
Yes, we can hear you now,
Can
sir, but
anybody hear
there's
me?
a background noise where you are, I think. I think it's your...
Interference is too much.
Yes, the interference is too much. It's from your end, not from anybody's end here.
From my end?
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Oluwawa.
Yes.
Oh, my background.
There's some
We
people
would have
talking.
tuned you now. It's not that you're
Okay.
digital.
So it's distracting us.
Ah. Is it fine now?
So it's like some women are talking or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's your wife. Your wife is beside you there.
Some women.
Yes, there's somebody talking beside you, definitely.
Nobody in this
outside. But it's from your end.
So please mute everybody.
Oh, yeah, let's mute everybody. Yeah, let's mute everybody. and see where the noise is coming from. Okay.
Don't let us pion you, Ogayo might.
Don't pion you. Oh yeah, is it fine now?
It's not.
Yeah, indeed.
It's not.
No. It's not.
It's from your end.
Is it fine now?
Maybe they're your neighbors or something, but somebody is definitely making noise somewhere.
Oga, we did not bargain for something like this now. This is our own time. Please, please just give this time.
Maybe you should change direction.
Oh yeah, check everybody. Is it fine now? It should be fine now. Did I get one yes answer?
Yes,
Yes,
it's fine now, Mr. Yomi. Thank you.
Aha, thank you. Since it is fine now. Oh yeah, let's go. I really want you to see me. Why? Okay, not fine, but it's better. Sorry, can you see the screen for what my madam was sharing earlier?
No.
Okay. So ceteris paribus, everything being equal, based on what my madam has actually explained. That's also what I'm banking on. I actually wanted to meet everyone before, but I don't think there's need for that because we all said it is actually for me from my end.
They're still talking again, no?
Okay.
They're still talking.
This is back, oh.
Hey, the man so now, stop me now. When you are working, sorry, please, everybody. Sorry, can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet. It's still coming up.
I can't see your screen. No.
Let me know if you can see my screen, please. Let me know if you can see my. Just give me a yes answer. Yes answer will do it.
I can't see it actually.
We can't see your screen, sir.
What about please, when you're limiting factor, what is the first thing come to your mind? I must pass PM. That is hindrance. That is constraint. That is blockage. That is anything that you know that cannot allow you to achieve what you want. That is a constraint. That is a bottleneck. That is limiting factor. Do you get that? And when we talk about this limiting factor, based on what we said earlier, limiting factor is that thing which will not allow you to achieve your aim. Just know that. It can be anything, but in PM, it is actually those factors, the scarce resources, those things that could not allow organization to achieve their production as expected. I really want to come that you can see my screen. Can you?
I can't
It's
see.
not
I can't
visible.
see.
We can't. I think you should stop sharing and share again.
It's blank.
Your screen is a limiting factor.
And yeah, in classroom, network can actually be our limiting factor. God bless you. It might be your network, it might be your gadgets, it might be your time.
But I think it's from your end, Mr. Yomi, because a lot of people are not seeing it.
Yes, that is why I keep sharing and unsharing. Let me know if you can see it.
I can't still see
anything. Cannot see
it, no.
It looks like maybe you have to log out and log back in again.
Please, what are you sharing? I can actually see your screen, but it's blank. I see your screen, but it's blank.
That's what I said. We can't see anything. Maybe you should log out and log in again.
Oh, yeah.
Me, I can't see it though.
We can't see it, sir. Thank you.
Ah. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. And
Yes,
let me
we
know
can
what you
see
can
it
see.
now. We can see it now.
Yes,
can
we
What are
can
you
see
see
it
it.
seeing?
now.
We can
Rules of
see it.
limiting
What are you
factors.
seeing?
Limiting factors.
Rules of limiting factors.
Good. Very good. That is what I want you to know. That's what I want you to see. Apology for the word. Let's work in this situation out our limiting factor. That is simply what limiting factor is all about. When you hear limiting, limits, you can achieve everything. If I can give us this paper at a go, and you will pass everything. But because you are in skills level, you cannot write more than 5 papers. That becomes a limit for you in that level. Hence, what ICAN has done is called limit factor. You want to church today, but because there is classroom, which you must not miss, you leave church and go for class. That means that classroom IoT are your limiting factor. You're supposed to be in class, but you go for church or you go to mosque. That means that your church or your mosque you went to today has served as a limiting factor. Anything that affects you in achieving your aim is known as what? Limiting factor. When we now come to the limiting factor, there are certain things that you really need to know. We are still coming to discuss this when we are going to the linear programming model. Okay, one, when we have, based on what my madam been explaining, limiting factor actually have what we call, sorry, please. I think my voice is echoing in my true. Okay, now I'm fine. So limiting factor actually have some rules, which is going to guide you whenever you are whenever you are solving any question. And it does not just end under the limiting factor. That's why we are discussing limiting factor first before we start going into the details of performance management, which involves your contribution margin calculation, specific order computation, and the likes, relevant and non-relevant costing, up to pricing decision, up to all your short and long-term decision making. Everything starts from the word limiting factor. Note, everybody, that when I want to write down as usual, when there is no limiting factor, by there all, use your contribution margin. That's taken for you. When you have no key limiting factor, what do we call key limiting factor? I want to produce. I have material. I have labor. I have machine. My machine can produce the capacity that I needed. Even though my machine can produce lesser capacity as required. My labor are readily available, even though they cannot work more than 8 hours. But the material to use is short in supply. How will I achieve production for that day? Remember, machine Capacity, though, is serving as a limiting, but not a key limiting factor. Labour said they cannot work more than 8 hours, which means if the production is able to be increased to 10, they cannot do it. Hence, labour is also a limiting. But those are not the key limiting. What is the key limiting? Is that resources that is shortage in supply material. So in that case, my madam has said that you have to be identifying the key limiting factors in every question. Where there's no key limiting factor, my love, you use contribution margin. Who can tell me how we calculate contribution margin? Anybody? Randomly. Random question, random solution. Random answer. How do we calculate contribution margin? Anybody?
Selling price.
Are you
Selling
seeing
price
me?
minus variable cost.
Selling price minus variable cost. I love you. That's all. You get your contribution. Contribution is what we call contribution margin. Next, we said when there's no key limiting factor. My madam was mentioning single limiting factor and multi limiting factor to you. When there is single limiting factor, where there is, let me call it one. One single, if I am one, I'm single. If I'm two, I'm double. Where there's one key. Yes, I don't see what I'm writing.
I can't see you.
I don't see what I'm writing.
No.
Yes, you can't see.
It's just on the side too.
Yeah.
It's not showing.
I thought you said you saw rule of limiting factor.
Yes,
Just
Network.
limiting factor.
Not this time, not this time, not this time, not time. Let me see my screen again. I'm sharing. Let me know if you can see the screen. You have to see this. It's not just about solving question, my dear. The question you have there, if you cannot solve it now, you will solve it later. Yes, you will see it. I want to confirm. If you can, it's not just about solving question. Like my madam said, you are going to solve the question. If you cannot solve the question, you solve it. And even we are not only limited to solving one question. Because after our own, we still solve with me as well. But you have to get the rules of the limiting factor so that when you are tackling any question, you will keep into your memory. You should be seeing me. Gaga. Can you see this now?
We can't
Have
see
you
you.
gone for this network? Yeah? Wait.
What kind of network are you using, sir?
It is a lot. It's not showing.
You sent to MTN, no? We can't hear you. Nothing is showing. Time is going. Calm down. It's not
I can't hear him. Oh, is he
You are saying kind down.
I am changing my network. Can you see it now? Let me know if you can see my
Let
screen.
us always
I'm
be
changing
Yes, we
network.
patient
can see it
now.
now. We
They
can
are
see
doing
it.
this thing
Thank
for
you.
free. You are still complaining. Like, patience Why is do
Yes,
we the
we,
like
we can
complaining,
see
We
it.
can
Kindly
see
complaining?
go
it.
on, sir. Thank you so
Ah,
much.
Oh yeah,
Thank you
everybody
so
hold
much.
on.
Network can do like that.
Please mute everybody, sir.
ah.
Sorry, please. I have to seek alternate net.
I can hear you, so.
It is network.
No,
Let's
it's
be
not it
patient
yet.
with
It is
them.
network. It is network. It's
Let's
Sir,
not
be
please,
me.
patient.
sir, you can't be saying we should be patient because of subsequent lectures. It can't
Be
be coming
patient.
continue
And
like this.
Be
so
So
patient.
Calm down
it
now.
can't
what
be
We are
okay,
continuing like
learning.
so
this.
We are
Leave
okay,
learning
so
now. Go
what
limited,
do
for
you do
physical
now?
limited
class
Say let's
Okay,
now.
be
don't be
patient.
factors. You should
patient.
understand.
Go
Ah,
for
What do you
physical
want to do?
You
class.
ah.
should be patient.
Okay,
Limited
don't be
factors. Self,
patient.
you
What do
don't
you
even
want
see
him to do?
understand.
Go for physical class if you can't be patient.
I just tire. Oh. Ah.
Wow.
Behind him too.
Please let me. We can see the lecturer is also putting efforts to make it work.
Yes.
Yes, now.
Exactly. So you guys should just
Uh-uh.
calm down now.
Awa. Anybody that cannot be patient, let them go for physical class. Thank you very much, Sal. Go for physical class.
That's a wrong statement to make.
Don't mind them. After I've failed, I should go for physical class.
The only thing you can do is be patient.
Refund
There's
your
nothing
money.
else you
Guys,
can
Calm
do.
calm
The
down.
down
lecturer
We'll
is
and
refund
rest in
you.
trying.
Jesus' name.
The lecturer is trying.
Rest
We
in
also
Jesus'
are
name.
here waiting.
What is
So
it?
if you cannot be patient, go for.
He's only
Thank you.
making his comment
You
and
don't
let
tell
him
me
make
to
his
go for
comment.
physical class,
Simple.
please.
Please, let's calm
Patient.
down.
Then
If
Network
you
is
be
tell
not
me
a
I
patient.
way
shouldn't
to
express my
solve
mind.
this.
I understand everybody's
Calm
You
down.
all want me to
Network
meet you
problem can
without be
happen
able
to
to omit.
anybody.
Hold on, everybody. Okay. I don't know what is actually happening today. Not working. Why is somebody muting me? Please confirm to me if you can see my screen. Can somebody confirm if you can see my screen?
Not yet, not yet.
Not
You're
yet.
trying to share, but it's not coming
Not
up.
yet.
Okay, please let me know.
Omi tó gbé kaná yẹn ò tí ì bò.
Omi gbọ́ kaná. Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
Not yet.
Internet work.
Mr. Lecturer, I would suggest that you just go ahead with this lecture. So with time, maybe your screen will not be.
That's come up. That's gone again.
On that, so
14 minutes to go. It is well.
Mr. Lecturer, you can
we are
just
going
go
to
ahead
reschedule
with what
the
you have.
class.
We ourselves
Everybody,
should not express our mind. So let us enjoy it, please.
Wahala.
I never say you shouldn't express your mind. However, we are going to reschedule this class. Okay? However, if you cannot see my screen, just listen. At least this will go. When you listen, you will hear me. And with that, I wouldn't do any solution again today. We are rescheduling this class. Okay?
Go ahead.
Shall we?
Yes.
I said one of the rules
The screen
for
is
whenever
gone.
you see any limiting factor,
So we can see your screen now.
don't worry, listen. If you cannot even see it, don't worry, listen. You will see it next time. Okay. The rules that is guiding limiting factor. One, when there's no key limiting factor, my dear, use contribution margin. And you already know that your contribution margin is equal to your what? Your selling price minus your variable cost. Don't forget. Two, where there's a single limiting factor, which we call one key limiting factor. What do we use? You will use contribution per limiting factor. Who can tell me how to get contribution per limiting factor? Anybody? Oh, yeah, random answer. I don't have time. Who can tell me how to get contribution per limiting factor? Yes, I can hear you. Talk to me.
Material plus direct labor plus direct expenses minus sales.
No, what are you saying?
Sales minus variable cost.
You divide the
Is
contribution
that
by
the
the
contribution?
limiting factor and then rank it.
Thank you. That's it. It's okay. It's okay. Just tell me contribution divided by what? Limiting factor. Is that not? Then, my madam explained this to us. The various steps that you do when you are calculating for contribution per limiting factor. She says, and I repeat, that you first of all calculate your total cost and your what selling price. Then you are going to have your selling price and your variable cost, which is going to give you contribution. After getting your contribution, you have already identified your limiting factor. You will now do contribution divided by limiting factor. When you do that, you are getting contribution per limiting factor. After that, you will now rank. After ranking, you will now do what? You produce based on the highest. What is the highest? Which one comes first before the other? From there, you'll be able to determine the optimal production plan, and hence it's going to maximize the profit. Number three, if there is now multi-period, if there is more than one limiting factor. If you have 2, 3, 4, if there is more than one limiting factor, my dear, you use linear programming. Use a what? Linear programming. Okay. How do you do linear programming? We shall be discussing that during the course of our lecture. Linear programming also have its own rules, because if there is 2 limiting factor, it's got a way of linear programming you can do. If you have 3 and above, we also have another method of linear programming that we can use for that. What we want you to understand about the take home is the rules of limiting factor is anything that serves as hindrance in achieving our goal, such as what? Time, such as what? Network in the classroom, such as what? Class time, such as what? Gadgets and the like, such as what? Our background. Background can limit us. Many people want to talk. Many people want to say something, but because they're in a noisy environment, because they're on transit, they could not even answer, they could not even ask a question. Some people wanted to be part of the classroom, but they could not. They will only be watching the video. And as a result, the activities that they are doing, which keeps them away from the classroom, sometimes they're limiting factor in the attending the class. In a production, it can be any of the elements of your what? Cost. It can be material, it can be labor. My love, it can be overheads. Where it is a material, identify. Material will rather be shortage in supply. Labor will be labor hours. And overheads is not usually overheads, it's usually either massive capacity or production capacity. Then, so if I now want to know whether the question is a limiting factor, I will first of all look at the question. Do I have a key limiting factors in the question? If there's no key limiting factor, I will rather go for contribution margin. I will just do what is my sales? What is my variable cost? Now I get my contribution. Have I gotten my contribution? Yeah, relax. Next. Since there's no key limiting factor, I'm not doing anything again. I calculate my contribution. Do you want me to determine the profit? If the answer is yes, then I will less my fixed cost from there, and I'm going to get my what? My profit. If I see that from the question, I've calculated contribution and there's a limiting factor, I first of all check, how do I even know limiting factor? Who can tell me? How do we know that there's a limiting factor? My madam says that limiting factor, if you can see my screen, so be it. If you cannot see, please just listen. I will screenshot it to you. It said limiting factor is where resources available is lower than, let me say, is less than resources required. I need 8 good hours of labor to work in an organization 5 days a week. But he said, no, because you are in VI, I cannot be coming to office every day. I can be doing 2 work from home, 2 days home, 3 days at work. It means that I require 80 hours of labor, physical presence in a week. But I can only get 60 or 30 hours of labor in a week. So what is available is lower than what is required. Then there's a limiting factor. You needed 1,200 kg of material to produce a material, to produce a product. But you only have 800 kg of material that is available. Hence, that is a limiting factor. Hence, that is a limiting factor. Okay, that is how to really identify what a limiting factor is. But if your resources require, if your resources available is greater than resources require, no limiting factor. You will use contribution margin. That's the clue. That is the clue. If you not see that, where your resources available, resources that you have on ground, if it is lower than resources you needed, resources required, there is limiting factor. Hence, your rule 2 and 3 apply, depend on the data. What is your rule 2? Either I will be using contribution per limiting factor or I'll be using linear programming. Anyone? I'm coming. But if your resources that is available is greater than the resources that you needed, resources required, it means there's no limiting factor. I will just calculate my what? Contribution margin, selling price minus variable cost, and I close out. If the examiner says I should calculate profit, I will just first of all calculate my contribution, then I will less my fixed cost, and I will get my profits. If they just say determine the contribution, they just say determine the optimal production level. I'll just calculate my my contribution and I close up. That is how to determine my optimal level. But if my resources available is lower than the resources that is required, then I will now check, is it one limiting factor I'm having or two limiting factor? If it is one limiting factor that I'm having, I will first of all determine which of the resources initially is a limiting factor. Oh, it's labor hour, term noted. Then calculate my contribution, sharp, selling price minus variable cost. Have I got it? Let's say I got 8 and 10 for 2 products. Let's say one product, I got 150. And I say, what is the limiting factor? Labor. I'm not a labor hour. Let's say labor hour is 22. I just say 150 divided by 22. That gives me 15. I didn't press calculator to press it is wrong. It's assumption. If it's giving 15, then how will I now allocate this labor hour to produce what I want and still get the maximum profit, maximum production? But if it is true, oh, I now I'm going to use limiting factor. I will not use contribution per limiting factor. My dear all, we shall continue from here in our next class. Any question for me? So far, so good. I also want to use this medium to apologize for the inconvenience we encountered through network today. I really want to let you know that. Oyeni said we are not in Russia. Yeah, Oyeni, I'm sorry. It's actually because of time. Like I said, we are revisiting this again. The case whereby you use contribution margin as a limiting factor. How will you not get your contribution per limiting factor? The moment you have calculated your contribution margin, favor, and you have identified your limiting factor, it's just a contribution divided by the limiting factor. It will give you contribution per for the limiting factor.
So, sir,
That's
I'm
that.
trying to
Yes,
say,
sir.
sorry, sir.
You have the floor.
So I'm trying to say that in the case whereby like there is no limiting factor and we use our contribution margin, that means we will not be solving for contribution per limiting factor again, right?
Yes, that means there's no limiting factor. Why should we solve for it?
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on it. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Yomi,
God bless you. Because I'm coming. Please hold on, everybody. Please, sir. Please, my hold on. Sir, the question that my sir has just asked now, I can confirm it to you that when examiner are giving you questions, they will not tell you whether there's a limiting factor or there's not. But in your head, in my head, because of the tension, I think I'm doing contribution per limiting factor. I now calculated my contribution. That one is down. Now, I try to look for limiting factor. There's no limiting factor. I see that my resources require is greater than the resources require is greater than the resources that is available. Is there contribution? Is there limiting? No. I will just leave it. Now check the question again. What did I ask me to calculate? Is it profit? If it is not, that's all. Yes, ma'am. You have the floor.
Yes. I wanted to make an observation. So yesterday we were doing ABC. We moved to limiting factor. We've not finished one, and then we're moving to another. It's a bit confusing. Please, can we
jump to another one?
Yes,
God
please,
bless you, ma'am. We actually have 2 sections for performance management. Yes, we actually have 2 sections for performance management. Saturday for your mind, Sunday for madam.
Okay.
It's as PM our classes, except case study. We don't have one tutor for one classes. Why? We want to maximize your time and cover everything.
So it means on Saturday
when you have the notes for PM, every Saturday is for your mind.
APC, okay, the ABC.
ABC, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much.
On Sunday, you continue with your limiting factor and what my madam is taking.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome, ma'am. That is what my son also asked at the beginning. Why am I here? You will see that I'm actually having disruption of network because I don't supposed to be here. It's just because my madam is also experiencing network challenges. That's why I just quickly call me to come and assist her to finish the limiting factor.
Thank you, sir.
And the material for today, yes, you are getting it. Okay, you will get everything. If you look at what my madam presented, you will see that it is consolidated note. I see November 2025 there. We just want to perfect everything and send them to you. We apologize. Thanks so much for that. Any other concern? Let's address
Yes,
everything. So please,
whoever,
Hello, sir.
everybody,
Hello, sir.
please,
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
sorry, please.
Can I quickly
Yes,
say
sir.
something?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so I just
Come in,
want
please.
to
Please, sir.
talk to
Hold
my
on, please.
colleagues.